Namaskar. Today I want to share my view on rise and growth of British Empire in India. This subject is a part of national movement. This is useful of BA Part 1 students who is studying national movement in BA Part 1 first and second semester. Now today's my video is on the topic of rise and growth of British Empire in India. Among the Europeans, the Portuguese, the Dutch, the French, and the British came to India. Primarily, they came here for the purpose of trade. But the weak political condition of Indian encouraged them all except the Dutch to participate in politics and establish their rule here. The Portuguese being eliminated by Dutch and the Dutch being indifferent towards establish their empire here. The French and the British alone were left to the contest of political power in India in the 18th century. Their contest resulted in their Carnatic War, among which finally the British emerged victorious. However, the British Empire in India did not being in south but in north from the Suba of Bengal, which at the time included Bihar and Orissa as well. The British, while being involved in the politics of Bengal, fought two major battles against the then Nawab of Bengal. The Battle of Plassey in 1757 and the Battle of the Buxar 1764. The British were victors in these battles, which made them de facto rulers, and Suba of Bengal, though its direct administration was taken over by them in 1772 only. The resources of Bengal helped the British in extending their rule in India and beyond the frontiers. Being firmly established in Bengal, the British attempted to conquer the rest of Indian territories and by diplomacy and war succeeded in their aim by 1856. Moreover, Mysore was the first state which fell a prey to British imperialism in India. Hyder Ali, who had usurped power in Mysore from its Hindu ruler, had to fight against British for this safety, while his son Tipu proved to be their determined enemy. The resulted in four Anglo-Mysore war in which the British finally emerged victorious in 1790. The British annexed most of the territory of Mysore, while the rest it was handed over to descendant of the previous Hindu ruler as the dependent ruler of the British. The British fought three wars against the Marathas and succeeded to subduing them by 1818. Large territories of the Maratha chiefs were taken over by the British, and what was left them, they ruled over the dependent ruler of the British. Sindh was annexed by the British in 1843 after little resistance by Amirs. While the British were busy in other part of India, Ranjit Singh and succeeded he established a powerful empire in Punjab, including Kashmir and northwest frontier. Ranjit Singh maintained friendly relation with British. He died in 1939. Internal dissension broke up the Punjab after the death of Ranjit Singh, and that gave the British to desired opportunity to grab Punjab. The British fought two wars against the Sikhs and won both. Thereafter, the Kingdom of Punjab was annexed by the British in 1849, which extended in British Empire up to the natural frontiers of India in the northwest, while the ruler of Kashmir became the vassal of British. Beside these wars, the British extended their empire in India by several other means. The subsidiary alliance was of Wellesley, the doctrine of lapse of Dalhousie, maladministration of native ruler, etc., were other means and excuses which were restored by the British to fulfill their lust. Imperialism in India. Awadh was the last state which was annexed by them in 1856 on the basis of maladministration. Then took place the revolt of 1857, which convinced the British that native state would prove useful instrument in safeguarding their empire in India. Therefore, the policy of annexation was abandoned by them, and in 1858 it was specifically mentioned in the Declaration of Queen Victoria. However, by the time the British had occupied most of the Indian territory and the rest of it was left under the rule of those native rulers who had no power to resist the British in any way, and who, till the British left India, always remained loyal to the British crown. On the one hand, the decline and fall of Mughal empire, failure of the Marathas to emerge as a central power after the fall of the Mughals, and their failure to put up joint front against the British incompetency and natural conflicts of the native rulers, absence of national feeling among the Indians, lack of motivation of fighting against the foreign enemy among them, their medieval concept, and the lack of capable leadership, and on the other hand, the superiority of the British in the arm of diplomacy, their superior espionage, dedicated leadership among them, motivation of the glorifying the motherland, and the modern attitude, etc., were responsible for the success of the British in India, which resulted in the subjugation of the Indian for the nearly 200 years. Point to be remembered. Among the Europeans, the Portuguese and Dutch, the French and the British came to India respectively. Later on, only the French and the British were left to contest the political power in India in the 18th century, which resulted in the Carnatic Wars, wherein the English were victorious. However, the British began their empire from the Suba of Bengal, where they conspired and fought the battle of Plassey and the battle of Buxar against the Nawabs, become the de facto ruler of the Suba. Gradually, the British conquered the state of Mysore, the territories of Marathas, Sindh, and Punjab by wars, extended further their empire by other means as well, like the subsidiary alliance and the doctrine of lapse, and the also on the plea maladministration by the native rulers. The state of our being the last state to be annexed by them in 1856. However, after the revolt of 1857, the British abandoned the policy of annexation, but by the time the British had complete hold over India and no native ruler was left in the position opposed them. Several factors like the fall of Mughal Empire, failure of Indian ruler to put up the joint front against British, and superiority of the British in the arms and diplomacy, dedicated leadership among them were responsible for the success of the British. This is the students. This is this is my view on the rise and growth of British Empire in India in these short terms. Now I want to start this some more thought on the nature of British rule in India. You should be learn. You should be know the nature of British rule in India is very important to studying the national movement of India. Primarily, the British came to India for the purpose of trade. Thus their chief motive was economic, and they remained such till their departure from India in 1947. Of course, they acquired political power in India and desired to rule India permanently, but this was means to further their economic interest. The economic exploitation of India for serving the economic interest of Britain was the true nature of British rule in India. Initially, the British established trade relation with India with a view of exchanging their goods, Indian goods, mostly their trading activity of the limited purpose of Indian goods, which were sold in Britain and in other European countries at high profits. That the economically advantageous to India as well, because the British East India Company created extensive market for Indian goods in Europe, but condition changed when the company acquired the political power in the province of Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. The revenue of Bengal provided हेलो हाँ बताएं अच्छा हम थोड़ी देर में बता दे रहे हैं मैडम अभी बता दे रहा भूल गया था बता दे Bengal provided revenue of Bengal provided company with sufficient capital for the purchase of Indian goods, and there remained no need to bring British good of invest British capital here. Thus the company turned the revenue of Bengal into capital, purchased Indian goods with it, sent those goods to the European markets, which earned the good profit, and the return brought nothing to India. It was thus one of the means by which India was drained of wealth on the large scale. The experience of Bengal whetted the appetite of the British company to acquire more and more territory in India. That resulted in the deliberate and consistent policy of aggrandizement, territorial aggrandizement to India by the company till 1857. Besides, during this very period, the economic exploitation of India and increased manifold because of the change in circumstances in Britain and the India as well. In 1813, the monopoly of East India Company over the trade of India was abolished. Then the trade with India was left open to every British citizen and trading company, which enlarged the scale of exploitation of Indian by British. In 1833, the British citizens were permitted to purchase land and settle down India, which resulted in the settlement of British citizen and landlord. The, the planters in India during the very period Industrial Revolution gained momentum in the Britain. Now Britain could produce good on the large scale with the help of machine. Hence, now required raw material and also market for the finished good. India provided it with both. India was now required to the produce those agricultural goods which were needed by the British industries, particularly cotton. Beside roads, canals and railway line were laid in India, means of transport of extending the market for the British finished good. The Indian government adopted the policy of free trade simply to provide better facilities of British trade in India, while Britain continues the policy by protection against the Indian goods in entering the Britain. Beside, when the Britain capitalist amassed surplus capital, they were encouraged to invest it in India, where labor was cheaply available and banking facilities were provided to them on preferential terms. All this resulted the increased economic exploitation of India. Of course, certain social, educational, and humanitarian measures were taken up by the British in India during this very period, particularly during the 1830. Other humanitarian, the liberalism were predominant in the politics of Britain, but that did not mean any change in the nature of British rule in India. It was all primarily because the acceptance of the theory of white man burdened by the European, and the time because of certain pressures on the English government in India. Otherwise, Britain continued to exploit India economically by all possible means. The basic nature of British rule in India did not change even when in 1858 the governance of India was transferred from the hand of the East India Company to the British Crown after the revolt. On the contrary, it resulted in the enhanced economic exploitation of India because India was not served the interest of British traders and manufacturers alone, but the economic interest of the nation. Britain, after taking over the governance of India in its own hand, the British government pursued the policy of one charge in India, treated India as one unit and when it suited administrative and economic interests, brought native rulers under the complete submissions and attempted to create those circumstances which could enable its rule to become permanent in India. It was only by the end of the Second World War that the British realized that they could not hold India anymore and decided to leave it with a view of keeping good relations with the even afterward. The British left India only when certain internal and external circumstances forced them to do so. It was so because India served the interest of Britain in so many ways. One among them was the huge population of India, which provided good recruits to the British Army. It was certainly the Indian Army which helped the extending the British Empire and keeping the intact also a long period of time, but above all was economic advantage which Britain draw from beginning till the end of the rule in India. The British rule in India affected Indians in several ways. It brought certain benefits to Indians. Modern education, rational and scientific attitude among the educated Indians, growth of idea of democracy, liberty, equality, humanitarian etc. Education and emancipation of the women established the democratic institution contest with the Western world, discovering of India's glorious past, the rise of several social and religious movements, growth of nationalism, political awakening and organization are there because of the impact of the British rule. All these have affected the life of Indian favorably, but the British rule affected the lives of Indian adversely as well. The introduction of English language as a medium of instructions and the emancipation of women of the Western pattern and such other change which have affected the cultural life of Indian can certainly be a subject of controversy, but keep it intact vested interest of criteria, classes, support to regional interests, and encouraging communalism are certainly the legacy of British rule in India. However, the worst result of the British rule in India had been on the economic front. Peasants suffered most during their rule. Their revenue policy was largely suffered most during their rule. The revenue policy largely responsible for it, while the peasants were left to the mercy of the landlords and intermediaries under the paramount of settlement and Mahalwari system. The revenue was kept very high under the Rayatwari system. The destruction of handicraft and cottage industries also put pressure on agriculture. The judicial system was favor local banyas and mahajans. All this led to the fragmentation of holding, rural indebtedness, increased the landless labor, etc. And finally, impoverishment of the Indian peasant. The British deliberately adopted such politics which resulted in the almost complete destruction of Indian handicraft and cottage industry. The competition which machine made good of Britain was also one of the reasons in their decline. The British gave no encouragement to the growth of industries in India, and whatever development took place because of the initiative of Indian enterprises remained lopsided. It all affected Indian economy adversely. Besides, the wealth of India was drained of several ways. The home charge exp- expenditure incurred the administering India in British. The cost of the army training, transport, com- uh, uh, transport company outside the India, but charged of the Indian exchequer guaranteed interest on railways and pension of the retired British personnel. Part of the salaries and allowances of their still in the service. Profit earned by British investors, traders, and planters. Several other kinds of income and investment income from the revenue invested, the trade by the British company, etc., were the among several means by which the wealth of India was systematically transferred to British. It was the major factor leading to the extreme poverty of India. Thus, the British exploited India economically in all possible ways, and it remained the worst feature of their rule in India. Even many British scholars accepted it as such, while the Indian national leader described it as the worst evil of as the national awakening was realization of Indian leaders and gradually by Indian masses, traders, industrialists, and rather all groups of Indian society that the major cause of poverty of India was the British rule, and it was all their economic interests were to be safeguarded. This rule must be brought to an end, and therefore all of them participated in the struggle of Indian independence. Point to be remembered. Economic exploitation of India for serving the economic interest of Britain was the true nature of British rule in India. The British came to India for trade, and initially their trade with India benefited India because they opened the extensive market for the Indian goods in Europe. However, the position changed when the British got political power in India. The British used the revenue of the Suba of Bengal for the investment in trade, earned profit for which was sent to Britain, and it return brought nothing to India, which finally resulted the drain of wealth from India. The monopoly of trade of East India Company with India was abolished to 1813, which opened the trade of India to every British citizen, and the company which interested exploitation of India by British. The Industrial Revolution to the Britain extended manifold of the economic exploitation of India by the British, and finally India became an extensive field for producing agriculture goods which were needed by British industries, and a good market to receive the finished good produced by them. The policy of free trade adopted by the Indian government on the one hand, and the policy of protection pursued by British government on the other hand, opened further venues of exploitation by British. The British capitalists invested their surplus capital in India when labor was cheap and banking facilities were favorably available, earned good profit by it, the scent of Britain, leading the further exploitation of India. The nature of the British rule did not change even when the British crown took over the administration on the India from the hands of the company in 1858. On the contrary, it extended the scope of exploitation of India because now India had not to serve economic interests of British traders and manufacturers by only, but that is an entire country of Britain. Only by the end of the Second World War, Britain realized that it could not hold India in the hand anymore and decided to leave. It was forced to decision. Otherwise, keeping India under subjugation has been beneficial to Britain in several ways. Particularly, the India Army has helped in extending the empire all over the world. India benefited by Britain rule in several ways. Modern education, rational attitude, many modern concepts, upsurge in several social religious movements, national awakening, etc., were beneficial result of British rule in India. But the communalism, regionalism, formation of different groups in vested interest were also heritage of the British rule in India, which had harmed India. However, the worst result of British rule in India was the extreme poverty. The Indians of all sections, and that was one reason that prompted all Indians to participate in the struggle for the independence. Thank you very much.